Happy holidays to all. I thought I'd show you a little a holiday view of my living room. You can see the stockings hung by the chimney with care, hoping that St. Nicholas would soon be there. So let's get that out of there. You can see all kinds of fun things, but I'm Steve Ivy. Welcome to Swollapalooza Thursday. We're live on both X and YouTube. I have a guest coming on shortly, 2025 recruit, Docker Tedeschi. I was going to pronounce his name wrong, but I managed to touch bases with him beforehand, and we know it's pronounced Tedeschi. Anyway, we'll be bringing him on shortly. Take care of a few housekeeping things before we go on. First of all, I want you all to know I'm wearing my hat on straight, not on backwards like I did on a show last week. I had somebody I know tell me that the only people that wear their hats turned around backwards are a-holes. And so I may be an a-hole, but at least you're not going to be able to tell by how I wear my hat. Anyway, the other thing he told me was the only people that wear sunglasses indoor are Stevie Wonder and a-holes as well. So you won't see me wearing sunglasses indoors. Anyway, I just want to just a couple of housekeeping things. I'd love, we're on both YouTube and X. If you follow me on X, you should be catching me live. If you want to catch me on YouTube live, obviously you can subscribe to me. I've decided to go, I did something that maybe makes it sillier to even think about monetizing, and I don't care about monetizing. I'm just trying to build a community. They say, oh, keep it to one channel, either X or YouTube, but I don't care. I want to go to both, and we're going to keep doing both just because we reach more people. We're trying to build a community. So let's keep that going. And, please subscribe, though. Please follow me. Please hit the like button as well. That helps a lot. But the other thing, and I always bring this up, please send your ideas for shows to crackerscollegehoops@gmail.com. I've gotten plenty of good ideas from people for shows, and I like to think that what we're doing is pretty creative. Some of the shows we did, the travel log to visit CSU players over in Europe with Sam Hodeling. We did some analytics stuff with Jake Shulgin. So we've done a lot of cool things. And the whole idea is I want to do more and more. I do my Monday morning show with Brady Hall. I'm really proud of what we're doing there. We've had some great interviews. We had Neek Clifford on Monday, and I'd encourage you to, if you haven't seen that, to take a look at it. It was a really good interview. Get a lot of insight into Neek and what his season, what it's been like for him transitioning from one of the players to the guy who's at the top of the scouting report. And it was really interesting to hear him talk about the CU game and how he probably got a little bit out of character and maybe got a little carried away. And I appreciated that because he didn't play necessarily his best game. He gave it his best effort, but that'll be a learning experience and a growth experience for him as he tries to lead the Rams to greater heights. So with that in mind, let's move. Let's talk about somebody who is the top of the scouting report at the high school level. Let's bring on my guest, Docker. How are you today?
I'm great. How are you?
I am super. Docker is the latest one of the two 2025 CSU commits. We had JoJo McIver from Texas on about a month ago, and I was triggered. I wanted to actually have Docker on and get in touch with him, but then a day or two ago, we saw this highlight reel of dunks in the state of Illinois, Illinois Prep dunks of the week. And number one was none other than Docker. I'm going to pull that up. I have that ready to go. Let's watch this together.
All right.
Here we go. In slow-mo.
Oh, okay.
Yo!
What are you doing?
And at 5'9", I'm never going to experience something like that. Obviously, at the high school level, that's pretty neat to watch somebody to do that. When I was growing up, people weren't doing much of that kind of stuff. Did you have it in your mind you were gonna go to the basket and you were gonna dunk it?
Oh, absolutely not. Whenever it clears a little bit, the thought gets there, but most of the time I don't make it there. So
Yeah, obviously, you show pretty good hops. Is that probably the best dunk you've had? You've had, or have you had others that are memorable?
I've got one last year. It was in the semifinals of a tournament that we were in, a holiday tournament, and the guy I was on the right wing, he jumped the passing lane, I spun off it, and then another all-stater, one of our rival schools jumped with me, and I got it down over him, and it was a really good one.
Yeah,
That
it
one sticks
sounds
out to me.
that's cool. I used to be able to get, at 5'9", I could get about this far up on the rim, and obviously I could dunk on a 9-foot basket, but not on a 10-foot basket. So that's so. How's your season going so far?
Really good, really good. We're 5-0. We've had a couple close games with a couple really good schools. My role's kind of changed a little bit this year. I'm in more of a ball dominant role, passing and scoring, but I'm really excited for this week. We've got a conference game tomorrow, and we're taking a little road trip to Carlinville to play an out of conference game.
So you guys, last year you played for Benton High School, right? Benton, Illinois, which is located in the southern part of the state. You went all the way to the state championship game at the two-way level, and you lost in the state championship game. Do you have hopes of doing the same thing this year and getting all the way back to the? Do you have a team, or did you lose some players?
Well, we lost our point guard. He went to SIU Carbondale, and then a couple of our other good players went to play college basketball. But I think we've got a good shot. We've got a lot of depth this year, and we've got some underclassmen stepping up and filling in some big shoes. So
You talked about changing role. Power forward before, more of a point kind of forward, and kind of leading the offense. Is that what's going on this year?
yeah, it's really weird. I flutter in between like a small forward and a point guard right now because we're still trying to figure out the roles and who really is going to be our ball handler. But I really like having the ball in my hands coming off of ball screens because it just opens up the passing angles and I attract a
Um,
lot of attention. So
it's interesting because we're watching the transition of Neek Clifford this year. I don't know if you've watched much of CSU this year. Neek was he wasn't a secondary player last year, but we had a point guard who was pretty much doing everything in Isaiah Stevens.
yeah,
Without Isaiah, Neek gets involved not just as the kind of the lead dog in terms of scoring, but he's got to distribute as well. Is that kind of how your role has evolved?
I'd say so. Yeah, very similar.
So that's kind of fun. That Benton, Illinois, located very so small school, right? 2A. How many people live in Benton?
We've got about 7,000 people, but we only have about 500 high school students. So
500. Is that 9 through 12 or 10 through 12?
9 through 12.
Well,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
125 per class. I thought I went, I lived in upstate New York before I moved to Long Island, and we thought we had small classes with like 250 to 300,
No.
but 125.
Yes, sir.
What was interesting, I kind of like geography. I've never been in that part of the state of in Illinois. You guys are really far south.
Unless you are going from like St. Louis to Nashville or Memphis, you don't really ever go that way. So
Yeah,
really,
and in fact, I looked at obviously everybody's heard of Chicago and Illinois, and we're familiar with some of the other cities as well. But you guys are much closer to places like St. Louis and Memphis and I think Indianapolis than you are to Chicago, right?
so Memphis is a 3.5 hour drive, Indianapolis is a 3.5 hour drive, and St. Louis is about an hour and a half. But Chicago's 5.5. So we never even go up there. We're always east and south, pretty
So do
much.
you if you ever talk about going to a city, is it St. Louis?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
right there. So
So Memphis, three and a half hours away. Have you been following what's going on with? So I'll tell you what. Let me before I get into. I want to talk about the switch to the Pac-12 conference from the Mountain West, but let's get into kind of your recruiting before we do that. I'm sure when you first touched bases with CSU, you had no thoughts of playing in a Pac-12, right?
Yeah, absolutely not. But I'm very grateful. I'm thankful for the opportunity. I think it'll be a good challenge for sure.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Did so? When did you first come in contact with CSU? Who was your main recruiter?
I'm pretty sure it was middle of sophomore year, and I was talking with Coach Ali mainly.
Okay, so middle of sophomore year, and then was it during high school season, or was it AAU ball?
Mostly during high school. He just kind of reached out one day, and we just kept talking ever since. But he's been great to me. All of the coaching staff has, and they were a really big factor in why I ended up choosing CSU.
What about the staff? Is was some what resonated with you and the staff?
That's a really hard question. I'd say just the connectivity. They were always there whenever I needed to talk to them, and they always reached out first too, which was really encouraging because a lot of schools don't do that. But they just maintained their entrance level for so long, and I don't know, with a kid like me, I got offers pretty late, and they were one of the ones that always just stuck by me, and I never doubted that they were interested and really wanted me to come play for them.
This is a fan channel. I'm not an official media guy. I'm a fan with a little bit of media background, but as a fan, I've come to appreciate this entire staff. I got to know Nico back in 2007, 2008 when he was an assistant coach, and then when he came here from Drake in 2018, getting to know all Nico and all the assistants, Ali and Brian and Tim and Ken now. It really is a family kind of thing. Is that something you felt during the recruiting?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just all throughout, they were just right there, and everyone was so supportive and outgoing. It was just really encouraging.
Tell me about your family. What's your family like?
So, my dad just recently retired. He's been a judge since 2008 and was a police officer before that. My mom was also a state police officer, but she retired from that. I have an older brother who just graduated medical school. He lives in Indiana now. And then I have two sisters. One is pre med and she goes to Rhodes College in Memphis. And the other one is a basketball player who plays at John A. Logan College. And she's planning to transfer out this year.
Oh, okay. So yeah. How about you with the sports? Did you play other sports growing up?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I was a big baseball player until I was in about eighth grade, and then it kind of switched. Also, I played golf. I played high school golf until my junior year and then focused more on lifting and basketball. But
But I
yeah.
like the golf thing. I'm a golfer.
Mhm.
I,
Yeah,
I,
Coach Ed did. He showed some
that's
interest in that. So
Yeah, good. That's let's see. I know Nico likes to play. Ali doesn't play at all. But Nico's a pretty good player, and we had a couple of guys that transferred out last year that were pretty good players. Jack Payne, who went to Idaho, Kyle Evans, who transferred to UC Irvine. But they love it. When did you start focusing on basketball?
I mean, I've always loved basketball, but it was kind of between that and baseball growing up. But I've always loved basketball a little more. I started when I was 4 or 5. My brother played, and that really got me into it.
So here we go. I got a question. First comment from Jake, my buddy Jake. Welcome to CSU, Docker. What's high school recruiting like nowadays with NIL? Does it come up at all?
So with me, it didn't as much because I had been getting recruited from smaller schools even than CSU. But I don't know. It wasn't as big of a factor for me. I'd say that it's just an added bonus if I get that, but if I don't, it's not a big deal, and I'm not focused on that. I'm focused on the basketball and the school. So
Yeah. So focus more on the fit and how your game fits into into CSU. It's obvious, I looked at just looking over the strengths last year. I mean, 15, 16 points a game, 7 rebounds, 3 assists. I don't know, 5 or 6 block shots a game. You have a very all-round kind of game, and seems like it'll fit into CSU's 5-out offense, where they value people who can do pretty much a little bit of everything well. You can't just be a shooter. You got to be able to pass the ball. Is that one of the things that attracted you to CSU?
Absolutely. But at the same time, that also made me realize how much I needed to work on all of my game. So this off season, I spent the majority of my time doing ball handling stuff and making moves off the dribble and finishing around the rim, because I felt that was a weak point. But with my play this year, I feel like I've gotten a lot better at that, and I'm going to be able to fit in wherever they need me to. So,
Yeah. How would you rate your perimeter shooting?
well, I think I would rate it pretty good, but I think I shot 40-ish% last year, maybe 45. But I had a couple games where I had one where I went 9 for 10,
Oh,
in a really good game. But I'd say it's one of my strong suits, catch and shoot, even like a couple bounces into a 3.
yeah, that's I had 9 out of 10. I say that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay, so here you are, senior year, goals obviously of going to the state championship. You've got some things in mind about what you've got to work on. Have you gotten feedback from CSU as to the things they think you need to improve on as well?
Yeah, I have. A big one was ball handling, and I've improved on that, but obviously I'm not built like LeBron James, and I'm gonna need to put some weight on to be able to hold my own, especially in the Pac-12. But I've consistently put on 25 pounds every year of high school, so I'm hoping to put on another 20 before I get there, and get to about 215.
So yeah, let's talk about that Pac-12 thing. We were excited. I did a show right away on moving to the Pac-12, and I brought in a guy that I found who's a Gonzaga podcaster. Does the thought of being in the conference with Gonzaga and San Diego State interest you?
Oh, I love it. I have a friend from Benton High School who just committed to Gonzaga for track and cross country. So I've been talking to him and making jokes about how we're going to have a conference game home and away.
There you go. That'll be fun. You get to run into somebody that you know. The other thing which I was going to bring up, the proximity to Memphis, we got our fingers crossed that Memphis is the next team coming into the Pac-12. A lot of people think it's imminent. That would give you something your family wouldn't have to travel too far to come to.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that would be thoroughly exciting. If we can get Memphis, we've got a darn good basketball conference, and
Yeah.
you're looking at right now. There's 8 teams, and 6 of them were in the NCAA tournament last year. 6 out of the 8, and if you add a Memphis, you probably have a pretty consistent conference where you're. In fact, somebody's put together some of the numbers. It looks like a conference that'll be better than the ACC. So you've got to be excited about that.
I am. I love the competition. There's nothing better than a 2-point game. There's just, I don't know, the environment's just amazing, and especially at that level, college level.
Have you had any memorable buzzer beaters?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't think buzzer beaters, but I've had some that were really close that flipped the game. My sophomore year, regional semifinal against a really good Murfreesboro team. They ended up getting into the sectional and getting beat by the state champion. But we were down 2 with about 30 seconds left. It was a home game. I caught the ball in a reversal, hit a little jab step, pretty deep 3 for me at that time, and Jim just blew up. I hit it. And it was a great game.
Do you have the good jab step, by the way?
I love my jab step. That's one of my go-tos. Don't tell
That
anybody, but it is.
That is, by the way, that is my favorite move to free one up to get a 3-point shot.
Absolutely.
We had a guy here who's now at Wisconsin tearing up the Big Ten, a guy named John Tanji. I don't know if you followed any of what's going on in the Big Ten, but
Yeah.
John was the Big Ten player of the week the first 2 weeks. He spent his first 4 years here and he had a great jab step. And I'd look at him. I'd always told him, I said, John, you are the perfect Big Ten two guard if you ever play in the Big Ten. Well, it turns out he was. But I said, John, you need to use your jab step as much as you can because people know that you're trying to drive by them. You give them the jab step, they go running and try and get between. They take 2 steps back. And he was a great 3-point shooter. I love it. So I can't wait to can't wait to see you come out here. So have you met JoJo?
I haven't met him, but I've been in contact with him on social media, and uh, I think Coach DeWeese gave me his phone number, and we've been talking a little bit.
Yeah, I think we're all excited about both of you guys coming in. We have a lot of guys. It's a young team. Right now, we've got some older players that have come in via portal, but the core of the team, there's a lot of sophomores and a lot of freshmen. And then with you two guys coming in, I think we're looking at, I think of the bigs as baby bulls. We've got a lot of tall wings, and then guys like JoJo and Kai and Evans. The other thing I wanted to talk about, you're a small school player. Do you get to play much against some of the bigger school guys in the summertime?
Oh, in the summer, absolutely. I remember last summer we played Lyon County, Kentucky, and they had the kid commit to Kentucky, actually. Tyler Perry, I think he broke the scoring record in Kentucky. We've played a couple Chicago teams. Last year during the season, we played George Rogers Clark, and they were the Kentucky state champion, which was a great game. I loved that game. They beat us by 15, but it was a great game.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, that's the one thing I was going to bring this up. You're too young to go back very far in terms of CSU history. You probably know about some of the more recent teams, but we had a small school kid who graduated from high school in 2004. His name was Jason Smith, and Jason went to at the time Colorado's biggest was a 5A classification. Jason was a 2A player, played for a little school named Platte Valley. Jason came to CSU. He was a 7-footer. He didn't weigh, I don't know if he weighed 200 pounds. And they thought about redshirting him, and he went out and he won every drill and in summer practice. And the coach said, geez, I might have to play him. He went on to win, Mountain West Freshman of the Year. Sophomore year, he was good and checked out the NBA. And by his junior year, he was in the NBA draft and played, I think, 12 or 13 years in the NBA. Small school player. And you have a lot of the similar characteristics. Jason, I think, his senior year lost in the state championship at the 2A level, but you're not a 7-footer, but you're not far away. But
yeah,
guys small school guys have done very, very well at CSU. So it's kind of, I'm excited for that reason. We had a football player named Kyle Bell, who was the all-time leading rusher at the high school level, who was again, another small school player who went on to have a great career, all Mountain West Conference running back, and he would have played in the NFL if he hadn't blown out his knee. But that's I'm looking forward to that. And now I got to ask you this, being in a small school and kind of being the straw that stirs the drink on a good team, do you get a lot of crap when you go on the road?
oh, yeah, absolutely. It hasn't been as bad this year as it has been in the past because I haven't really had a terrible game yet, but whenever I have a bad game, I'm not excited for that, but oh no, it's fun.
It'll get you prepared because it's a little different at the college level. And there's some schools that are pretty hard. But how do you deal with it? Does it motivate you, or is it something you can block out?
Yeah, I just try to tune it out. It's not too big of a problem for me. I just kind of play through it, and if it's something funny, then I mean, I'll giggle at it and shake it off. But I mean, most of the time, it doesn't really affect me.
That's cool. You're way more mature than I would ever have been at that age. I probably would have thrown things at the crowd. Before we go, I've got to do something. I've got to bring something up here. Your mom put out something on Twitter about primetime performer, and I want people to look at this and go find it. I reposted it. Vote for Docker as the primetime performer, and I've got. Let me go out. Let me go here for a sec, and let me get out of here. Remove that. I can add something else. Let me stop that and add this. And let's see how the voting is going, because we need to make sure you win. Let's see how we're doing. This is it. Primetime performer. Here's all the people. Let's go look at the latest results. And you're only running at 47.6%. Struggling. They only have a 16-point lead on Cannon Ruby from Steelville. I want every Ram fan to go out and find what I reposted and go out to this site and please vote for Connor. Okay? We got to win you something, young man.
Yeah. Thank you. You didn't have to do that.
You're an all-state player. You were voted the top player in the southern part of Illinois last year, but there's nothing wrong with winning awards. So I hopefully we'll be able to push you toward that. So with that, I'm gonna let you go. You've already spent over 20 minutes with me. This has been fun. Hope you've had a good time.
Oh, it's been great. Thank you so much for having me.
It's I look forward. One of the joys as a fan is I sit 7 rows right behind Nico. We have a great section. All the people are regulars for years, and you get to know not just the fans, and you'll come and you'll get to know a lot of the fans, but you'll get to know a lot of the parents as well. A lot of the parents come to games, and that's one of the joys is it's really a family thing. And so, I mean, I miss the Stevens family this year after getting to know them for 5 years, but the Cliffords are here this year. We'll lose them, but the Lakes will lose, but all the other families that show up. And I know your family lives a little further away, but hopefully we'll get to know them as well. And really looking forward to having you as part of that family. So thank you for coming on, and let's keep in touch. We'll have you on again. I'll try and catch up. Maybe I'll see if I can have a show later in the year as we get closer to the playoffs, get both you and JoJo on and find out how you're doing and how you're progressing in the state playoffs. But good luck to you. Thanks again, Docker. We appreciate it.
I appreciate you.
You bet. All righty. Docker Tedeschi. What a great young kid. I'm so excited to have him and JoJo McIver. We've got a 6'9", 190-pound player with a lot of versatility who can run the floor, can shoot, can block shots, handle the ball. And then obviously JoJo having a great start to his senior year as well. Both of them lost in state championship games last year. They're both winners, and that's something that we're looking to. If you look at who CSU has recruited over the years, a lot of these guys have led teams to either state championships or second place games in state championships, and are players of the year in their particular states, award winning and the like. So very, very exciting to have Docker. And what a great kid. I'm so excited that I got a chance to meet him. It happened via a dunk. Like I said, I was going to try and get in touch with him, but I decided let's get him on right away and let's talk about the dunk. So I'm going to wrap up pretty soon. We're going to keep it short. I am going to do a show on Saturday. I'm going to do a post-game stream after the CSU game against Virginia Commonwealth in Las Vegas. It begins at 5:30 Mountain Time. We'll be over about 7:30, and I'll come on and do a a live stream post game at about 7:45. It is a big game. VCU, actually, it'll be a quad 2 game. For a while, it looked like it might be a quad 1. It looks like it'll be they're going to end up a quad 2, a pretty high quad 2 team. They're about 65th, I think, in the net rankings. Will be a really, really good game. Originally, I was going to go to this game, but we ended up not kind of deciding maybe we're a little too tired to travel between Thanksgiving and Christmas. I'm kind of glad we decided, because I am feeling a little tired, and there's a lot of stuff going around as well. I don't feel like traveling and getting sick right before Christmas. So I will be on Saturday night. I have a lot of fun with those live post-game streams. We've been getting a lot of people on for those with a lot of comments, building this community. I've got my Butler boys, Corey coming on. I've got Jake. I've got Aaron. I just can't name them all. But thank you, everybody, for participating in that. The other thing, Saturday, I will do a Mountain West game of the week with my friend Tom Moser. Tom and I, we're starting to get a large number of views to that particular stream. Tom has a great reputation of being somebody as a coach who can break down games, and he loves the Mountain West. You might not see Tom on X for the next few days. I got a message from Tom that said he did something. He doesn't understand what he did, but he's been suspended from X for a few days, and so he'll come on and we'll do a stream on Saturday. We won't be able to route it. We'll have to route it through my YouTube and through my X account. We won't be able to route it through his X account, but anyway, we will come on, and we will probably do there's a few big games. I don't think we're going to do the Utah State South Florida game in Logan. BYU has Wyoming in the Delta Center, a neutral game. I don't think we'll do that. The big game is Boise State in Idaho Falls against St. Mary's. That is a huge game for Boise State and a huge game for the Mountain West Conference. We're trying to figure out how we can watch it on TV so that we can do justice in our post game. But I encourage you to stop in. And what I might do is I might start the CSU post game and then just keep it open and switch a few graphics and then have Tom come in, because we'll see how it goes. But we'll make it work. Anyway, thank you for tuning in. Have a good number of people watching now. I'm always encouraged. Oh, here we go, Jake. Here we go. Some must wins this weekend. I got to tell you, if you follow the Mountain West, and if you're listening to Tom's Top of the Mountain podcast, Saturday was a pretty bloody Saturday in terms of overall effect on the conference. Too many losses. Nevada dropped a game. New Mexico dropped a game. CSU dropped a game. Boise dropped a game. Basically, everybody dropped a game other than San Diego State, and they had an easier time. That's why. But San Diego State even had trouble last night with Cal Baptist, featuring CSU transfer via New Mexico, Javonte Johnson. Javonte scored 6 points last night against San Diego State, and almost helped them come back from a 20-point deficit. They ended up losing by only 6 points. So that was, it was not a great win for San Diego State, but at least it wasn't a loss. And as Jake says, must wins this weekend. CSU, it's very important that they get this game. I don't know if we're looking at any chance of an at-large bid, to be honest with you. I think it's going to take a lot of improvement by this team to be able to do what they need to do. Even if they win this game, the conference are going to have to get a lot better to run off a lot of games in the Mountain West Conference, but onwards and upwards there. And then, like I said, the Boise State game is huge. If Boise State drops that game, their at-large chances go really, they become very difficult. You might be looking at as little as a 2-bid league of Utah State and San Diego State, and maybe a third team gets in if they win the tournament. But that's pretty much it. Anyway, thank you all for for tuning in. I will see you all Saturday on my live post-game show. Final Score is what it's called. And then obviously Monday, I come on with Brady with my Monday morning cup of coffee. Thanks for all your support. I'm seeing viewership go up. Obviously, moving to X has helped a lot. We're building this community. I'm not at 1,000 yet, but I feel like we're a few weeks away from getting as many as 1,000 views watching some of the post-game streams. So anyway, thank you for all your support. We're building this community. Have a great evening, and we'll see you Saturday night. Go Rams.